leave, paid family leave generated in excess of $400 million. Yet it doesn't cost that much to run that program. Where are those dollars? And these traffic cameras generated almost $300 million last year, and it's supposed to fund Vision Zero. However, it doesn't cost $300 million to fund Vision Zero. So we have some problems that we need to address, and I want to establish that day one. Also, I'm going to establish our affordable housing initiative. We are going to build 1,600 square feet units across the District of Columbia, preferably 125 per ward. And they will be for our first responders, firefighters, police officers, teachers. We also build them for seniors as well as recent college graduates. So we're going to get affordable housing started right off the top. Since I am in charge of all the DC agencies, the directive to them on day one is to prepare to offer 1,500 paid apprenticeship programs to our high school graduates that will be graduating in June of 2027. We will also look at the UDC budget. It's $181 million. I need to get that up to $210 million so we can offer free tuition to DC residents at the University of the District of Columbia. Our new police chief, his mission will be to aggressively get our police force up from 3,100 to 4,500 and to create a plan of constitutional policing, not over-policing, and make sure that we have foot patrol, bike patrols, and community patrols. So those are the things that we're going to do right away. For our returning citizens, we're going to make sure that we look at our correctional facilities and see how we can bring back our 4,500 men and women that are incarcerated across the United States. We also need to get a halfway house here in the District of Columbia. And I am going to implement our incarceration to incorporation initiative. So there's a lot that we can do, but on day one, we're going to put the plans in action and get people going.
Okay. Several of your proposals involve significant investment. How will you pay for your initiatives without placing additional burdens on taxpayers?
Well, first, talking about affordable housing. Each year we provide $100 million to our Housing Production Trust Fund. So I will use that $100 million to build those 1,000 units, and they will be built by our certified business enterprises that are located here in the District of Columbia. No raising taxes. The $100 million is already in the budget,
yes,
but we just have to have an initiative and get these folks up and going. When we look at the incarceration to incorporation program, we're just going to have the Department of Small Local Business and Development look at the products that we're selling and allow our returning citizens to offer those products to the government as well. In the budget right now is $1.5 billion for our certified business enterprises. So once again, just get them up and going, get those dollars circulating in Washington, D.C. without raising taxes.
Okay. Many candidates make promises. What have you accomplished in public office and in the private sector that demonstrates you can successfully implement the Orange Plan?
Well, just like you indicated, I see you every now and then over at Home Depot, and you see the Home Depot Shopping Center.
Yes, sir.
I see you every now and then over at Costco's, and now that's a wide shopping center. What, PetSmart, Lowe's, Marshalls, restaurants.
Yes, sir.
In fact, we don't have one Starbucks. We have, I think, 3 Starbucks. So those are the things that I've been able to achieve.
Okay.
When our children go to McKinley Technology High School, $85 million project, started with us pushing that project and making sure that we reopen McKinley Technology High School. The minimum wage is up to $18.40 per hour. So these are the type of things that I've been able to achieve by working with the council, securing the votes, and being able to move forward. I'm not Benjamin Banneker, but I did create the rebirth of Union Market by changing the comprehensive plan. I was also the co-chair of the Gallaudet Noma Metro Station, and that created the Noma District. So these are the things that I've had an opportunity to bring to fruition. And also, I was the 7th vote to bring the Nationals back home. And now look at that area. Look at the waterfront and how much revenue it's generating. So there's a lot in our pipeline, and we're going to get those started and get those up and running.
Awesome. The district is facing economic uncertainty. What is your plan to jumpstart the DC economy and bring jobs and investments back to the city?
Well, first and foremost, we need to get what's in our pipeline. We have $800 million in the pipeline for the Capital One Arena around Chinatown, the whole downtown area, already budgeted for. We have like $3 billion that's going to come in for the new stadium. And in that area, there's going to be a tremendous amount of development there going on as well. We have Union Station modernization that's going to take place. The key for the District of Columbia is to ensure that contract opportunities are going to DC businesses. The key for us is to make sure that our residents are prepared and trained for those jobs. And we already know they're coming. So the same way we did with Costco, working with the mayor for Fort Lincoln, Bob King, we had training programs prior to Costco opening up. So that's why you see a lot of Ward 5 residents over there working. So we want to make sure that we do the same thing. And once again, the $1.5 billion that will go to our certified business enterprises, we need to make sure that they are hiring DC residents and that they are providing contractual opportunities for other businesses here in the District of Columbia. So we have a lot that we can jumpstart this economy with without raising taxes. We have the money. We don't have a money problem. We have a management problem. And that's why, as an attorney, CPA, Master of Laws in Taxation, having worked in both the public sector and the private sector, I can use that experience to make sure that the 700,000 residents of the District of Columbia will be participating in the prosperity that will come our way.
Awesome. What specific industry should DC focus on to create long-term growth?
Well, one thing is we have to understand what we no longer have. Prior to COVID, we had a booming downtown. Everyone would come to work. But when COVID came, we all went inside. Telework became the model. And now it's hard to get those individuals back downtown. On top of that, we have this new president. And the president has already terminated about 30,000 employees that would have been in the District of Columbia that would support our retail outlets. So for us right now, our future is going to be in family entertainment, in our restaurants, in our theaters. We're a sports town now, and we just have to make sure that we build on that. But we cannot generate the revenue that we need without public safety. Public safety is a key. Public safety not only addresses where you live, when you're walking with your son, where other people are enjoying their neighborhoods, it also protects our local economy as well. I want to go to the Nats game, but I don't want to get carjacked on the way to the Nats game. I want to go to Chipotle's, but I don't want to be sitting there with my granddaughters and chaos breaks out. So we have to address the violence that's taking place. And in addressing that, we need to address teens. We need to give our teens pathways, and I'm prepared to do that.
Awesome. You spoke a little bit about it, but let's talk about it. The mayor of DC must often work with both Congress and the White House. How will you navigate relationships with President Trump and Congress while protecting the district's interests? Well,
in the words of John F. Kennedy, we will not address the White House in fear, yet we will not fear to negotiate. Now, Mr. President, I'm letting you know up front what's non-negotiable. Home rule is non-negotiable. DC autonomy is non-negotiable. The pursuit of statehood is non-negotiable. Now, other than that, we can talk. And by the way, Mr. President, I want to be in charge of the National Guard. I don't think you need to be in charge of the National Guard. We should be able to protect the citizens of the District of Columbia, the tourists that come to the District of Columbia. You want public safety, Mr. President? I want public safety. But we can't have you handling the public safety of the District of Columbia. Put that on me. But make sure that I have the resources to get the job done. We'll get our 4,500 officers back. I need to control the National Guard. With our teens, I'm going to let our teens know they have 4 pathways. One is I'm going to allow you to go to University of District of Columbia tuition free. Since I'm over all the DC agencies, every agency will have a youth apprenticeship program and entry-level jobs. So a teen knows when I graduate, Mr. Orange is going to make sure that I have an entry-level job with health benefits, retirement benefits, and I can help my family. If you have a great business idea, I'm going to put you with the Department of Small and Local Business Development, so you can develop that idea as well. And if you want to go to college, as you know, you can use the TAG program, but I don't understand why we use the tuition assistance grant to give our youth $15,000 to leave DC. I need you to stay in DC. And so I'm going to give you more money to stay in DC and go to one of the 5 universities here in the District of Columbia. So I'm here to invest in our young people, but I also can say this: you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. Every one of them is not going to embrace those pathways. And unfortunately, that's where we have to have tough enforcement, tough love. So with me, prevention first, enforcement when necessary, but opportunity for all. So no one is going to be able to say, I did not have a pathway. You may not did not choose the pathway, but you will be provided a pathway.
Yes, sir. You work closely with former Mayor Marion Barry. Before his passing, what advice or message did he leave with you that still guides your leadership today?
Well, you know, I have with me today the Mayor for Life.
Mayor for Life.
His book. And what's great about this book, as you see, the Mayor for Life is in orange. And in the back, that's my office. And he would always say, Orange, you got my back. And so I was really, you know, elated when I saw the cover of this book. Now, in terms of Marion Barry, on July 14th, 2014, he autographed this book to me. And he states in here, to Vincent Orange, a good alpha brother, the citizens of Washington, D.C. are blessed to have your leadership. Now he's talking about the entire city. The citizens of Washington, D.C. are blessed to have your leadership. His second sentence, you are a fighter for the working class people. And I fight for the working class. I made sure that the working class, especially our tip wage workers, got 5 days of sick leave pay. I also got them an increase in their wages. I also was able to enact the wage theft legislation to make sure that they get their wages. So fighting for working people, I stood out there with the nurses in front of the Washington Hospital Center. So I have a spirit of fighting for the working class because I come from a working class. My brothers and sisters are from a working class. Have a lot of longshoremen in my family. And then the final thing he said, you have great courage in fighting for Black people. And so those are the 3 things that Marion Barry said to me on July 14th, 2014. And then, as you know, he passed in November, on November 23rd, 2014. The other great thing about Marion Barry is Marion Barry was the one that introduced me to Donald Trump in 2013. And when he introduced me to Donald Trump, we have the photo. And just like you and I looking at each other eye to eye, Donald Trump and I were looking at each other eye to eye. And I'm telling them about the vision for Washington, D.C. I'm the one that told him about Langston Golf Course. I'm the one that told him that we need to build a dome stadium. I'm the one that indicated that we also need to get into movies and create our own movies, have our own sound stage here. I'm the one that indicated to him that we need to have a water park and invest in our youth. And so it's amazing that he's coming here now and he's talking about a lot of these things. It was amazing today in the news where President Trump is saying that if Miss Louis George becomes president, that he's going to take over the city, that he's going to utilize basically Article 1, Section 8. And so that's unbelievable because the citizens of the District of Columbia should be able to pick their leaders, not the White House. But what I will say is that Marion Barry told me about Donald Trump. He dealt with Donald Trump in the past. When he introduced me to Donald Trump, I didn't realize the respect that they had for each other and that they had done business before. And Marion is telling me, Vince, it's all about the art of the deal. You know, you got to be straight up with him, look him in the eye, and don't back down and make a deal. So Marion Barry will always be near and dear to my heart. He's my fraternity brother. And so I love the man to death, miss him, but I would do those 3 things that he indicated in his book.
Awesome.
Yes.
So, of course, he's our mayor for life.
Mayor for life.
Mayor for life. You also proposed paid youth apprenticeship. I know you talked a little bit about it earlier, but what would that program actually look like? And how would it connect youth to real career opportunities?
Okay, well, for example, I am the one that wrote the legislation that created youth apprenticeships. And then the Youth Apprenticeship Advisory Committee. It's now being chaired by Bill Dean of MC Dean. You see his trucks all over the city, and he has a lot of contracts in the city. But he's the chair of the program. And so I had the opportunity to work with Howard University, where I had 44 high school pursuing graduation. I put them in a 200-hour program. We paid them the minimum wage. I had an agreement with Howard that at least 22 of them would receive paid full-time apprenticeships upon graduating from high school. And that took place. We started with 44 students, 40 graduated, 22 of them are now working at Howard University, full-time jobs with benefits, and also 82.5% of them have credentials. They have credentials in basic life support and CPR. So I know the program works. Now, to dig a little deeper, say if you were to say, I have a student here, or you have one of your AKA sisters just graduated and wants to get into accounting, but not ready to go to college. I'll put them with the Office of Tax and Revenue. What's a great place to start your career? You might have someone that wants to deal with the environment. I'll place you at the Department of the Environment. If you want to get into event planning is the place to be in the District of Columbia. At Events DC, we have 25 to 30 million people that come to the city on an annual basis for all these conferences. What is a great place for our youth to start event planning training at Events DC? If you want to be into sports, well, we have Audi Field, we have Nats Park, and we're building this $4 billion stadium. That's be a great opportunity for a young person to start. So that's how those programs will work. And indirectly, I'm fighting crime because now I'm taking up your time, but it's something that you're interested in. You're getting a paycheck. And so the pathway, go to UDC tuition free. If you're not ready to go to college, then I have a job here waiting for you. And if you want to go to one of the major universities, I have the tuition assistance grant that I can provide you. And if you stay in the District of Columbia, I'm going to give you more money. And you may even be able to get one of those affordable housing units that I'm building. Okay. So that's how that program will work.
Awesome. Now, since you said it, let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
Affordable housing remains one of the top concerns for DC residents. How can DC increase affordable housing, again, without raising taxes?
Well, once again, we're going to use the Housing Production Trust Fund. That $100 million that's put in that fund on an annual basis. Right now, we have utilized about $1.5 billion in the Housing Production Trust Fund, but no one feels it. You know, where's the affordable housing? You can't build affordable housing. Well, you can build it, but it's not going to be effective if it's for 80% of the area median income. Yeah. That's a high number. So the units that I'm going to be building are going to be for minimum wage workers. Okay. It's going to be for first responders. It's going to be for recent college graduates that are here in the District of Columbia. So that's how we're going to make sure that we keep our folks here in the District of Columbia without raising taxes. Because if you raise taxes, the folks that have those dollars, they're going to leave. We have to realize that we're in competition with Florida. We're in competition with Texas and Nevada because they don't have state taxes. And so people will just get up and leave.
Awesome. The district faces a projected shortfall of at least $1.1 billion. What would be your first steps to addressing that challenge?
Well, first and foremost, we will not be raising taxes.
Thank you.
As I indicated before, we are a $22 billion government. And so we don't have a money problem, we have a management problem. So once again, as an attorney and a CPA with master laws and taxation, my first job with Arthur Anderson and Company was on the DC government. That's why I know it so well, because I was trained on the district government when I started my accounting career with Arthur Anderson and Company. So we're going to put those internal controls in place. We're going to track how those dollars are coming in, how those dollars are being spent, and we're going to jumpstart this economy. Now, folks talk about that big, beautiful bill, but in that big, beautiful bill is $600 million for DC taxpayers. And it was never explained to DC taxpayers how that $600 million relates to them. So this is how it goes. If you are a waitress or a waiter in the hospitality community, you get to deduct up to $25,000 on your tax return. If you get overtime, which are first responders, police, nurses, firefighters, you get to deduct up to $25,000. If you are a senior, you get an extra $6,000 deduction right off the top. If you just purchased a car last year, you get to deduct the finance interest. And those dollars going to that population, they're going to spend it right back in DC because they need it to make ends meet. That jumpstarts the economy because now if you have a business, I'm coming into your flower shop. You're selling jewelry, I'm coming into your shop. And so I'm going to put those dollars back into your hands. For our businesses, they get to deduct accelerated depreciation and research and development. They get those deductions, they're going to spend it back in the community. And I'm even going to sweeten the pie and provide the $200 million to our low-income families by expanding the child tax credit and the workers' investment tax credit. So that $200 million going to that population, they're going to spend it in the District of Columbia. That's how you jumpstart your economy. And then you look at the $1.5 billion that's already in the budget with our certified business enterprises, all that jumpstarts the economy. And by the way, the certified business enterprise engine was built by me. When Linda Kropp made me the chairperson of Committee on Government Operations, and I took a look at our certified business enterprises, I saw there was only one agency that was in compliance, the Office of Aging. And the law says that 50% of your expendable budget must be spent with our certified business enterprises. And so, making a long story short, we took them from $0 being spent to $500 million being spent with our CBEs. Now it's up to $1 billion, and the budget now is $1.5 billion. And when I become mayor, it will be $2 billion. So all those dollars circulating in the city without raising taxes, because it's part of the $22 billion government that we have.
Awesome. Another thing that we're going through right now, and I want you to touch a little bit about what will your administration do to support returning citizens and help reduce recidivism?
Well, once again, we must help our returning citizens. Now, I got really introduced to the returning citizen population by Al Malik Farrakhan. Ceasefire, don't smoke, the brothers and the sisters. He had called me up because it was extremely hot, hotter than this day. And the inmates over at one of our halfway houses, I mean, they were burning up. And here Malik comes and get me. And I said, wow, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that facility. So working with Al Malik Farrakhan, we got with Finest Jones, we got air conditioners in that unit, and we just got it throughout. Then also I start taking note of his organization. And so we were able to get him a $500,000 grant, as well as William Shelton a $500,000 grant to help with our returning citizen population. So going forward, I introduced the bill, incarceration to incorporation. And basically you're just selling legal products back to the government. I mean, if it was me, I just want the toilet paper contract. And then I'm just going to get a distribution system in a warehouse. Somebody else is going to send me the paper. I just need to get it to all the schools, to all the government buildings. So those are the type of things that we can do. Also, I have a proposal that we build a correctional facility in the District of Columbia in Judiciary Square and tie it to the U.S. District Court. A tunnel goes to the District Court, tunnel goes to D.C. Superior Court, and we build it right there at 300 Indiana Avenue at the police headquarters. So we built a state-of-the-art police headquarters. On top of it are correctional facilities with an elevator that goes down to ground level. Tunnel goes into the district court. Tunnel goes into DC Superior Court. And no one should complain because it's in Judiciary Square. No one is living in Judiciary Square. So I'm not going to kick the can down the road like all the other administrations have done. We're going to address that issue here and now. And also, there needs to be a halfway house here in the District of Columbia as well. So there's some proposals out there that we will be examining and making sure that we look at that as well.
So because we are live and we do have an audience, we've touched on several of these topics during our conversation tonight, but our viewers submitted these questions and I wanted to hear your response directly.
Sure. Let's
take a few moments to address some of the questions from the audience. How will you provide free tuition, tuition-free education at UDC for high school graduates?
Well, I will reactivate the bill that I introduced when I was on the council. And at that time, we know that the fiscal impact statement came back saying it would cost $25 million. I've had an opportunity to speak with the last several presidents of the University of District of Columbia, and they were for the program. It's unfortunately I was not on the council and we didn't have a champion to bring it to fruition. But as the mayor, I will bring that to fruition. It's not a big dollar amount, and I know I can find $25 million within a $22 billion government. Just the waste and abuse alone is going to produce $25 million. So I make that promise to our DC residents, and in particular to our high school graduates, be it public or charter. You want to get an education, I'm going to get you a tuition free at the University of District of Columbia.
Awesome. My alma mater, so I can't complain.
All right.
You speak of pay youth apprenticeship. We talked about it, but is there anything you want to share with how it would actually work?
Well, I just want our young people to know, once they make it to high school, that they can look forward. They can look and say, hey, when I graduate, they're not just going to leave me by myself. The Orange administration has pathways for me. And one of those pathways is through paid youth apprenticeship. And now with Orange's vision, I can now look at those 90 agencies and I can start to plan which one of those agencies I want to be located at. And I can start making sure that I'm in a position to get with the agency that I desire. And I know I have a champion downtown at 1350 Pennsylvania Avenue that has my back. I just have to make sure, though, that I'm prepared, because Mr. Orange is all about that preparation.
That's right.
If you're prepared, we can do business.
Plan. That's right. The question says, how can you build affordable housing without raising taxes? We discussed that, but is there anything else you want to add?
Well, just once again, $100 million goes into the Housing Production Trust Fund. Other candidates are talking about building 20,000 houses, 50,000 houses. I mean, we'll be 20 years, 30 years still talking about that. I'm saying we're going to build 1,000 right now. I'm telling the certified business enterprise community to get ready. You have $100 million of business coming to you. And there are these, they used to call them tiny houses. When I introduced the bill way back, it was 600 square feet. Now those 600 square feet are luxury houses, and they can do business, and they can find someone that can bring those into the city. And I'm going to make sure that the Department of General Services finds the vacant land throughout the District of Columbia where we can have these units. And I want to be in a position where I can hand a young person, this is your deed.
Yes, sir.
Go build your story. I want to be able to give that to a senior that has worked, labored in the fields, and now just wants peace and quiet in a nice brand new facility where everything works. I want that new teacher that comes to the District of Columbia to have a home of their own. And so they can concentrate
wait a minute,
on
this the right man.
educating
Vincent
our youth.
Orange in the building, and he got a plan from north side to southeast, the southwest. Vincent Orange on the ballot is the best bet.
Do with affordable unit, and that really just comes from my background. When I was growing up, my third grade teacher lived around the corner, Miss Anderson. Miss Condre lived down the street. So those are the type of things where you have the community working together, and I think we need to get back to us being a community. Like I said, it takes a village. It takes all of us in the District of Columbia working together for the common goal, and I think we can do it.
Yes, sir. Livable, workable communities. I
Yes.
love it. You talked about what would you do for returning citizens. Anything you want to elaborate on?
I just want the returning citizens to get ready. I need the returning citizens to come together, because we cannot have disunity. We need to be united. And so once we get everyone united, come up with a plan, then we can move forward.
Okay. Mr. Orange, how will you improve public safety without simply locking more people up?
Well, it's not my plan to lock people up. And I am going to select a police chief that understands, yes, we need constitutional policing, but not over policing. I need that police chief to understand my methodology. My methodology is prevention. Prevention does deter crime. However, if crime is out of control, if we have to enforce, we enforce. but we enforce pursuant to the Constitution. But at the end of the day, it's opportunity for all. I'm going to go out and talk to these youth because someone talked to me. I'm a better chance student. When I was 14, I got a scholarship and I went away to private boarding school. I came from a poor background. 7 sisters, 2 brothers. My parents had 6th grade education. But one thing, we had a strong family bond. And back in those days, it was family. It was all about the family. And I wouldn't be here today if my sisters weren't coughing up $10, $15, $20 a month to make sure that I make it. Or, you know, my older brothers were in the armed forces and they sending me dollars and giving me their insight on what's out here in this world. But also Miss Palavin and Miss Pasolio, they introduced me to a Better Chance program. It was run out of Boston. Fred Easter was the director. And I feel that I was very, very lucky because I winded up at Fountain Valley School, where Samuel Goldwyn Jr. was the president and chairperson of the board. So I went to school with his sons, Tony Goldwyn and John Goldwyn. You know, Tony Goldwyn was the one that played in Scandals.
Yes.
But to us, he was just Goldilocks. I beat him in ping pong every day. But so it's just having that type of background and knowing where you've been given a lot, you need to give back. And that's what I want to do, give back.
Okay. Mr. Orange, thank you for addressing those audience questions and sharing your vision and the future of the District of Columbia. Before we conclude tonight's conversation, I do have one final question. DC voters will use ranked choice voting. Why should voters rank Vincent Orange number 1?
Well, I believe that I should be ranked number 1 because I come to the table as a leader with experience, as a leader that cares, a leader that has passion, a leader that has institutional knowledge, and a leader that has innovative ideas that can be implemented. You know, I have a lot of energy. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. No one is offering 1,000 affordable units right away. No one is offering free tuition at UDC right now. No one is offering our youth paid apprenticeships with retirement benefits, health benefits, entry-level jobs right now. No one is talking to our returning citizens and saying, we need you back at home. We need you to be a part of your children's lives, of your family's lives. No one is talking about that. And so Vincent Orange is talking about that, but Vincent Orange is going to make it happen. And on top of it, we're going to make the city safe. We're going to know about that $22 billion. And I'm a very transparent person. It's going to be all out in the open. We're going to smoke everybody out. We're going to smoke them out. Ceasefire. Smoke the money out. Where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money? We're going to show you where that money is, and we're going to make sure. And it's just like, you know, your program. Thank you for having me on Dreams. Dreams do come true.
Yes, they do.
And here we have a capital view. So I'm giving the capital view tonight, the final word with Miss Angel Austin. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to invite me to come out and, you know, give the final word. And that's what we need, the final word.
Yes, sir. So in closing, what is one message you want voters to remember after tonight?
I want voters to know that Vincent Orange cares and that Vincent Orange listens. You know, our native son, Marvin Gaye, he used to say, who really cares? Save the children. Well, I want you to know I care. I want to save Washington, D.C. I want to make my delivery. I've delivered a lot, but I have more to deliver. And when you go into those polls, you need to think about yourself. You need to think about your future. You need to think about what is being offered to you. This is not about I like someone. I like someone does not spend at the bank. I like someone is not going to get you groceries at the grocery store. I like someone is not going to get your kids a paid apprenticeship. I like someone is not going to get you free tuition at UDC. I like someone isn't going to get you public safety. I like someone isn't going to get you $22 billion where you know what's going on. So at the end of the day, vote for you. Vote for the best candidate that you believe will make your quality of life better and will make you feel proud to be a part of the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And you know what? I'm heavily number 7 on the ballot. So in column 1, That's where you rank first. So look for Vincent Orange, number 7. It says Vincent Orange, in parentheses, VO, Vincent Orange, VO, number 7 on that ballot. Heavenly, number 7. And, I just have to want to give, honor and thanks to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, that has given me the opportunity to be before you here today and to know that I've put it all on the line, all on the line. And, we as a people must come together. We as a people, we can get it done. And we just have to remember, keep your eye on the prize and keep your eye on the Lord Almighty, and everything's going to be okay.
Awesome. Mr. Orange, thank you for joining us on this special edition of Dreams, The Final Word. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in. We hope tonight's conversation has provided valuable insight into the issues facing our city and why Vincent Orange is the candidate seeking to lead. Remember, an informed community is an empowered community. I am Angel Austin Johnson, and this has been Dreams, the Capital View, The Final Word. Good night. We'll see you next time.
Hello, DC. I'm Vincent Orange. Look, hold up, wait a minute, this the right man. Vincent Orange in the building and he got a plan. From Ward 5 to Southeast, the Southwest. Vincent Orange on the ballot, it's the best bet. Hold up, wait a minute, this the right man. Vincent Orange in the building and he got a plan. From Southeast to Northeast, the Northwest. Vincent Orange in the building, let's get the word. You right there. Get prepared, Orange for mayor. Northwest there, Southeast there.
I'm running for mayor of our beloved city, Washington, D.C.
Took the city by storm, let that signal in the sky, so we need the help. The youth is going crazy, bullets spread right and left. Mama's crying, baby's dying, gotta say to you, we trying to do this in the city, that's just what we do. Back in Ward 5, that foundation was laid. Healthcare, better job, bigger, better wealth. VO on the ballot, put the trophy on the shelf. Let's get it,
I'm running because this city requires experience, discipline, and delivery. I built this D.C., and when I build, the city follows. Leadership, discipline, work ethic.
What we tell them, vote, Vincent Orange. 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 You want opportunities? A safe place in D.C. He hang with you, he hang with me. Education is the key. Healthcare and unity. Ward 5, he the pride. Protect the South Side. Vote for Vincent Orange. Vote for Vincent Orange. Go 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 for Vincent Orange.
Ward 1, June 16. Ward 2, June 16. Ward 3, June 16. AA, June 16. Ward 4, June 16. Ward 5, June 16. Ward 6, June 16. AA, June 16. Ward 7, June 16. Ward 8, June 16. DC, June 16. AA, June 16. BO, June 16.
Hello, DC. I'm Vincent Orange. I'm running for mayor of our beloved city, Washington, DC. When I first came into elected office in 1999, this city was in crisis. We faced a $518 million deficit, junk bond status, a control board running our government, and the loss of mayoral authority. Instead of arguing or chasing ideology, we came together and executed a real plan. It was called the Economic Resurgence of Washington, D.C., a citizen's plan for prosperity. And because we did the work, the control board was dismissed, budgets were balanced, AAA bond status was earned, mayoral power returned, and Washington began governing itself again. Today, I'm running for mayor because we are a $22 billion government. Yet too many residents are not feeling or enjoying the prosperity. In recent years, we've lost our AAA bond rating. That means dollars that should be invested in the general welfare of our 700,000 residents are instead paying higher interest costs. Our public safety has weakened and our police force has fallen to about 3,000 officers when it should be between 4,000 and 4,500 officers to keep our communities safe. DC, we cannot go backward and we cannot stand still. I'm running for mayor because moving this city forward requires a specific skill set, experience, leadership, discipline, work ethic, stewardship, stability, service, and delivery. I've had the opportunity to build in DC, and when I build, the city follows. I'm proud to have jump-started economic development, modernized schools, rebuild recreation centers, and preserve our history through DC Emancipation Day. Because of that work, DC residents can point to real results. Home Depot, Costco, Lowe's, Bank of America, the rebirth of Union Market after changing the comprehensive plan. McKinley Technology High School reopened. Books in our classrooms by the second week of every school year. A $15 minimum wage with an automatic consumer price index increase. Now, $17.95 per hour. 5 days of paid sick leave for tipped workers. Wage theft laws that return stolen wages. Expansion of the Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program for young adults ages 22, 23, and 24. Youth apprenticeship legislation. Fair coexistence of restaurants and food trucks. A permanent home for DC TV. And over $1 billion annually spent with DC certified business enterprises. These aren't promises, they are results people see, touch, feel, and live with every single day. That record earned me induction into the Washington, D.C. Hall of Fame Society, the DC TV Hall of Fame, Washington Business Journal Power 100 designation twice, and a proclamation declaring April 13, 2025, Vincent Orange Day. DC, I am qualified to be the 7th mayor of the District of Columbia, and I bring with me the Orange Plan. The Orange Plan starts with public safety as the foundation. Crime will not be tolerated. Public education begins at age 3 with vision, hearing, and home assessments, and ends with 4 real pathways to the middle class for our young people. Tuition-free education at the University of the District of Columbia, a 4-year college path with tuition assistance grants and other assistance, traditional or non-traditional apprenticeship opportunities mandated across DC and all non-governmental agencies, and entrepreneurship, including my incarceration to incorporation program. Crime is not an option, and for accountability, youth under 18 years old will be off the streets Sunday through Thursday from 11 o'clock p.m. to 6 o'clock a.m. with defined exceptions. With public safety in place, we can grow the DC economy without raising taxes, establish DC as a family destination, finish projects already approved, restore our AAA bond rating, circulate the DC dollar in DC, create jobs, expand housing that people can afford and attain, and ensure quality health care. In 2013, a DC legislative hearing in DCist.com documented my vision for a dome stadium, golf course development, and much more. Today, it is finally coming to fruition, and it needs leadership to finish the job. We will preserve home rule, protect DC autonomy, and continue pursuing DC statehood. I will engage the White House and Congress on behalf of the 700,000 residents of the nation's capital, not negotiating in fear and not fearing to negotiate, as President John F. Kennedy said. DC, I am Vincent Bernard Orange Sr. I humbly ask for your first vote for mayor in the Democratic primary on Tuesday, June 16, 2026. May God protect, save, and bless the District of Columbia.